everyone, today I'm going to be making the raised bed. It's of a metal design. A company called Vegega has supplied me with it to try out. I've never used metal raised beds before myself. Obviously there's a lot of countries outside of the UK that they're very popular in, so they got in touch and asked me if I'd try some out. So I thought, yeah, I'll give them a go, because I can see the actual pros of them compared to wood, because obviously wood you have to keep replacing. The lifespan of wood, anything between sort of 4 to 6 years, probably a little bit longer if you cover it with some sort of protective barrier membrane or something. But these metal beds are supposed to have 20-year guarantee, which is quite a long time. Obviously cost-wise they're a little bit more than wood, but if you think of how many times you have to replace wood, I'm sure it'll work out probably same cost-wise, but obviously not labour intensive at all. So I'll build one of these up. I'm just going to do this in real time so you can see how long it takes me to build one of these beds. I have got two, so I've got another one to build, which is a little bit smaller. This one is, you do quite a few different sort of sizes with it. You're not fixed to just one size. You can either have it square or rectangular. There's all sorts of different shapes. And I'll put all the links in the description below for the website, and there'll be a voucher code where you can get 10% off as well. So if you don't have a look and use a voucher code and that, and get a bit of money off and give it a try. So we shall start by opening it up. Because I'm going to be filling it today as well. Obviously not planting it, obviously it's in the UK and the weather's still a bit cool yet, and I'd like to give it a chance to settle. So it's all nicely packaged. You get a set of gloves with it, and I'm assuming this is like a trim to put around the top, plastic, which obviously protects you from any sort of sharp edges. Gloves, I'll probably not use gloves because I like to be able to feel things with my fingers, especially if you're handling screws and things. Bag here, I'm assuming that's got the fixings in, so it's always wise to have a little tub, because if you're on a grass surface or a soil surface and you drop any, then they can quite easily vanish from sight. I'm sure there's probably a few spares in there, and if you needed some you could probably contact them. They do different heights of beds as well. This is the 8-inch high version. I think they do 11, 17, 32, and I think there's an even like 40 as well, or a 42. Which are great for people who've got, back issues and can't, be reaching down, so they can be kind of a waist height, or for people who are in, like, wheelchairs or anything. So yeah, there's all sorts of configurations. You get instructions, which is reasonably big print, which helps. Not complex by the look of it. There's only a couple of steps. You get a little like wrench with a little spanner key. I would probably, yeah, you need a screwdriver as well, really, I'd imagine. I've got one anyway. So this variation, I bought it was like for a 2 foot by 8 foot, but obviously you can do that with different sizes. I'm going to be doing this one at it'll be the 3.5 foot by 6.5 foot variation. Doing on this, if you go to the 8 inches, don't need a centre brace. If you go up in height, because it's metal, to help protect the size and strengthen it, they sell the braces on the website as well. So yeah, the 8 inch, I don't think you need them for the 8 inch, but as you go up, you can buy the bracing rods. That just stops, obviously, because you've got a lot of soil in there, that stops the metal from wanting to bow out. As you do with wood, you have to put stakes in, otherwise it'll belly out. So we shall start by pulling some bits out, and we'll see what else there is. The instructions there. So these are the angles, the corners. You've got to be careful, obviously, because they are sharp on the corners. They've been covered with a plastic protective film, which I'll probably pull off before I build it, so I can imagine, some of the screw heads might trap it, so I'll probably pull it all off as I build it. Pop them on there. We've got the side pieces, they're all the same, so I'll probably first job will be pulling all the film off. Like I say, you don't have to use all the kit. On the other bed, because I can't fit a 6.5 foot in, I could probably do the 5 by 3.5. There'll be 2 of the sides that I won't use, but keep them, because you can, like I say, you can always uproot them and use them elsewhere. You know, if you're moving property, I'm assuming like with the duration on them, you can quite easily dig out your compost and disassemble the bed and reassemble it elsewhere. You know, because all the fixings, they're all stainless, so that they shouldn't corrode. And if you look online, there'll be some videos that show people who've had the beds for years, which will show that they do have a long sort of lifespan, which is great. They're obviously of a corrugated nature for strength. The only thing I could say probably is if you were putting it against a board that was flat, there's little holes here at the side. I'd probably try and bung them up, because I don't know if it's like the same all over, but slugs like little dark holes, so they could go in there in the daytime and then come out at night time. But obviously if it's fully open all the way around, you're fine. Doing all sorts of colours. I've just got the ivory white, but distribute I think worldwide, so different colours, greens, greys, all sorts of colours. Have a look on the site, and you can choose whichever one you want and whatever configuration. And obviously you can contact them if there are any questions. I'll just pull this stuff off. So I may skip this bit. Right, that's all the plastic cover, protective film pulled off. So going off the instructions, you assemble the sides first. So kind of roughly laying it out, it's probably going to be, imagine 3 per side, thereabouts. There's holes drilled, so obviously they overlap, and that's where your fixings go. I mean, obviously this is an area that used to be a bed, but I'm going to actually have it as a raised, this part. I think obviously with having the white as well, it will sort of benefit a little bit with light reflection, you know, to some of the lower things. And then I should have 2 left, which will be 1 for each end. So I'll put them to one side for the moment. So get a couple of screws, a couple of washers, and a couple of the nuts, a wrench, screwdriver, 2 of these. Obviously the white, that'll go on the inside, and the ivory colour on the outside. Just overlap them, and you'll put the screws, screw it through, put the washer on the back, and then just spin them on loose by hand. You could probably build all this sort of thing up in the house if you wanted to, and then carry it out in its sections and just connect the corners, or build it elsewhere. And there's 2 of you, you know, you could carry the whole bed. You don't have to do it on soil. If you've got a lawn, just put it straight on the lawn, it'd be fine. Obviously try and get it as level as you can. If not, I don't see why you can't kind of terrace it, you know, dig one end down slightly, and you know, so if it's buried, if your garden's on a slope, you can kind of terrace the bed so they remain flat. I always find flat beds are better, because if you get any rainfall, it percolates through the bed rather than runs off. Otherwise you can end up with obviously a dry end of the bed and a wet end. So it's just, it gets even sort of moisture drainage through. I mean, they might hold if I put that on the back. Screw's not turning. Yeah, it'd be okay with the wrench. Yeah. And that's part of one side. Just a case of repeating that process now. I'll probably keep, you know, it doesn't really matter, it doesn't state anywhere how to overlap them. I'll just check on the instructions. Yeah, I don't think you have to overlap them like the same all the way. But you could overlap that way if you wanted to. Doesn't really matter. You know, and they've got a good overlap. You know, there's a good probably 50mm overlap there. But they don't feel like they're difficult to assemble at all. You know, obviously another set of hands would probably help. Just take your time, there's no rush. One side done. I'll repeat the same with the other side now. It's better if you've got like a flat piece of board or something, because that way it keeps them all sort of straight. But there will be a slight little bit of play where you can slacken these off and straighten them out a bit. And just go around and re-tighten them up. But obviously if you've already got a raised bed in place and you just want to re-edge it, kind of measure out and just take away the soil that you need to simply drop the bed over the top of it. So I can see that, you know, they are a good idea. When you get the centre braces, you know, if you need the ones that you could probably put them on this. I don't think it doesn't need them. It doesn't state that you need them for this height of bed, because they've got like a chat box where you can ask a sales team, and I asked if I needed the braces and they said no. Basically they attach on the back of these and they go across the other side, and that just basically reinforces that top part. 8 inches isn't that bad, but as soon as you start going higher, obviously they need something, because there's a lot of weight in that soil. Luckily, today the weather's fine. But like I say, you could probably build them indoors if you had to, if the weather was a bit bad. That's the problem here in the UK, it does rain most of the time. More often than not, when I decide to try and do something out in the garden, I come out and then it starts raining. But today, luckily, we've got a bit of cloud hovering around, but I think we'll be okay today. A little bit of a breeze, which keeps it cool, because it's quite warm in this sunshine. That's the other side. I think what I'll probably do, I'll start putting the corners on now, because that'll just give it a little bit of stability. Probably attach the corners to a straight piece. Each end's kind of ready then. There. Obviously, the whole thing will sturdy up when it's obviously filled with soil. You know, it's only an edging. You know, and if they can hold like a 42 or 40-inch high bank of soil, they must be more than up to the job. Just be careful, obviously, because these corners are sharp at the moment. Like I say, they do supply gloves, you know, which are there to be used if you need to. I should be following instructions a bit more, but there's not that many pictures on them really to look at it. It kind of looks like just put all the pieces together and pop it on the ground wherever you need it and then fill it up. Which definitely beats going down to your timber yard, getting a load of timber that's probably been stored outdoors and then getting a saw out and trying to cut it while it's all wet. It's no fun. And then you've got to traipse across, get all your stakes and everything and build it. You know, and I can understand, you know, it's okay when you're sort of youngish and about, you know, there shouldn't be a reason that, you know, with age that you run out of options. So this is an option. Or family and friends or anything, they can come round and help you build one of these, and then you can still carry on with your gardening. That's one end done. She'll go across there. I strung this out the other day just so I had to make some adjustments to that side to actually try and even the pass out. I'll pop that over there for the moment. One more side and then put it together. One more end, should I say. And I'm just hoping it all fits in to how I kind of wanted it to. Through there. You know, that they're not that heavy or anything. Obviously the box has some weight in, so just be careful with lifting it if you've got any back injuries or anything like that. You know, there's quite a lot of height on this, so You could put cardboard down to smother everything underneath, but I think if you've got a big layer or something, it will block a lot of it out. It won't really grow through it. But as a precaution, yeah, you could layer it with cardboard. Whatever you want to fill it with is up to you. If you've actually not got any compost ready, you could actually use one of these. I'd be tempted to anyway if I didn't have anything to fill it with. Build it early in the season and then use one of these beds, put a cover on it, and then put all your food scraps and anything in there and cover it over, so it becomes actually a bit like a compost bin, and build it up that way. You know, obviously there's things like hay, straw, which I'm a fan of because I do like no dig and that. You know, be fine about filling it with a good layer of hay at the bottom, and then maybe some organic matter, some sort of manure or something. Bit of hay on top of that, grass clippings, cardboard, any food scraps, and then just cap it off with a little fine layer of compost, and then cover it over and let it sit over winter, and it'll be good to go the following season. But I mean, if you don't need anything that's this deep to grow in, you fill it with something that's you don't need. But there's nothing really wrong with, you know, adding some drainage to it, some bits of rocks and things. But it is better off being in direct contact with the soil, because that way then it just helps pull the moisture up and for things to migrate from the ground into the bed, or yeah, microbes and everything to get through and start mixing all the good stuff, all the food and nutrients up to the plants. Any fungus or anything like that can come through. Right, so we'll do the this bit up here now. Pop that there. So I imagine it's just a case of hatching it together now. Bit of a stubborn nut there, so try a different one. So far, so good. I mean, you could if you wanted to put some sealant in between the joints, but I don't think it's an issue. There's that much of an overlap. It's just the other end to do now. Got a nut in my pocket. See. Yeah, there's spares. Always handy to keep set aside somewhere. General quality of the beds look fine, look good. And obviously, they could, you can make them thicker, but it just becomes more heavier, and obviously the expense. I suppose if you had the option of thickness, then if you want to buy a thicker one, you're fine. But I think for this height, see if you get the braces, if you go higher, that's braced there as well. But even wood can swell over time. That's it built. Pretty straightforward. It beats carrying long lengths of wood across everywhere and cutting them all to size and hitting stakes in and having to repeat that process every few years. But I mean, with this, if it's 20 years it lasts for, then you're kind of onto a winner, really. If you've got the initial money to buy one, You know, you could gradually renew your garden. You know, 1 or 2 of them a year, different sizes. You know, and they're always open. If you need to change anything, you can alter the shape of them. Let's see what this trim's like to put on. Obviously, you'll be able to cut this down. But, we start it in the middle here. It's not too bad to push on. Obviously, where there's an overlap, it's a bit harder. I should imagine I'll be able to use the net covers I make, be able to make them for this too, because I'll just pull around the side here. That'll be an idea for later in the season when I plant things in it. There's probably frames and all sorts you can buy for these beds on the site. I think they do like growing frames, you know, and arches and things like that. Because you can get corner beds, heart-shaped beds. They do all of them on there. There's not many variations. I'd probably say the first thing to perish would be this. But it is, it's thick, it's not flimsy, so it is taking a bit to push it on. Stubborn bit there. Bit of persistence and it's on. Certainly give you plenty so you can snip it down, some snippers. I'll try and do it with secateurs if I can. Yeah, it's got metal inside it, so it's reinforced. And if you wanted to, you could probably put a bit of tape over that joint there, but I think that'll be fine. But that's the bed built. So in the next part, I'll be filling it up. So thank you for the company Vegega to supplying me with these beds. So I look forward to giving them a good use this year, and if they do fine this season, I will definitely keep them. And it's just a case of, I just need to rake the sides to get it so it sits level, because I like things nice and level. Just to make sure it's all bedded down, and then just simply start filling it. So thanks for watching, take care, and I'll see you next time.